Greetings, Mason Storm here. On today's episode we're going to be making an English pudding. Pudding in England also goes by the name Dick. And today we are going to be making Spotted Dick, which is a pudding with raisins in it. Our ingredients for the Dick consist of 1 tablespoon of cream, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 3 eggs, 1/2 cup of raisins, 1 cup of butter, 1½ cups of icing sugar, and 1 cup of flour. To begin the creation of our dick, we're going to be using a mixing bowl and then adding our eggs, our butter, and our sugar and mixing them together thoroughly. Somehow though, I managed to mistake the flour for the sugar, so that kind of started off on the wrong foot, but decided to add the sugar in anyway, even though that was not the target at this time. Icing sugar looks a lot like flour, so I had to do like the drug test thing with the finger to see which was which. And then I realized my mistake. But moving forward, we add in our vanilla as well as our cream. And that just gives it a little bit more moisture, so it mixes a little bit easier. So it's not super duper dry. It's only a little dry. And at this point I wanted to move over from using the whisk and move to using a wooden spoon, as the mixing process is far easier when it doesn't just clog up like this. And at this time too, we should add in our baking powder. Just put it through a sifter, that way there's no clumps, and then we'll mix it with the wooden spoon. We're almost done here. We're almost done the preparation for our dick. So there's only one thing we have left to add, and that's the spots. Or should I say raisins. So we add our raisins in now, and then we can just give it a little bit of a mix, make sure they're nice and distributed, and then we're good to move on to the next step. But now it's time to get out a pot. Now we need a pot that we can have a pudding bowl in it, as well as raised off the bottom of the pot. So this is kind of my tallest one, and I'm just going to use a ramekin here. I actually switched over to using a different ramekin, and then I can test to see if I can put the lid on it with everything inside. And this one thankfully passes the test. And then it's just a matter of filling the bottom of the pot up with water. If I didn't mention it earlier, which I didn't because I went through and looked, we're going to be steaming our pudding. We're going to be steaming our dick, I should say. So we just simply fill the bottom up, and the ramekin holds the bowl off of the bottom so that it just gets cooked by the steam, which is a very slow and tedious process, but it works good. And then we're just going to butter up our bowl so that we can release our dick from the bowl when it's done cooking. The butter really helps with the releasing process. It makes it nice and slippery. So now we can proceed to add in our dough for our dick. Now you don't want to fill it all the way up to the top because then it could overflow, so you want your dick to be an inch from the end. And once you have it all filled up, it's time to cover the dick. We're going to be using aluminum foil to put over the top of the dick, and that will prevent the water from getting inside. It will kind of act as a way to kind of protect the dick, because if you got water in there, it's just not going to be any good. So here we go, we're over on our stovetop now. So there's our pot. And that's the ramekin I switched out to using. And I like this one because it's not as big, so that more water is in the bottom of the pot. That way I have to refill it a lot less. So we're just going to crank our heat up on here and let our water kind of heat up. Although I guess it doesn't technically matter if you preheat it or not. And then we can proceed to add in our dick. Now my pot is very friendly. The dick is quite a bit smaller than the pot, so I'm able to use a towel to just reach in there and grab it and pull it out. But if your pot has a little bit less clearance, you probably want to put a sheet of parchment paper underneath the dick and kind of loop it up, and that way you can use the parchment paper to lift out the dick. Just have it underneath the container and just one end to the other, that way you got something to lift it out with, because it can be a little bit tricky. So now we just let it cook away. So it's just going to kind of steam away here, and we're going to let it steam away for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And during that time, you're probably going to have to refill the water a few times, just kind of pour a little bit more in. What's good about having the foil on top is that you can just pour it right on and it will just drip down. You don't have to worry about pouring it into the dick and wrecking everything, so that's always good. And before you know it, a very long amount of time will have passed, and then our dick will be ready. So now we can pop the lid off of the pot and then proceed to get our dick out. Now I'm just going to be using a towel and doing the old reach around and just kind of lifting it out from the top. But like I said before, that if you got the parchment paper strung out between it, you can use that to pull it off, and then you're good to go. So we'll take off our foil, and then we can get a plate, and we're going to put the plate on top of the bowl and then proceed to flip the bowl upside down to begin the releasing process, to release the dick from the bowl. This works really quite well. And here we go. We can lift it off now. It's cooled off for a few minutes, and there we go. There's our spotted dick. Good to go and ready to eat. In case you're wondering why the bowl became a different color, because it's a different spotted dick. This was actually the first one here. It didn't hold its form as well, and I only cooked this one for about an hour, so it's kind of hard to tell how long you need to cook a spotted dick, but more does seem to be better as far as the ability to hold its form. But both of them tasted pretty darn good. So let me know in the comments below how you like to make your spotted dick. And if you like my videos and like to see more of them, please like and subscribe. And until next time, stay awesome.